1 second. That's all it took for Instagram couple Andrea and Sara to plunge from digital stardom to catastrophe. Perched on Italy's Altar Knotto, a 650-foot cliff notorious as an insta-trap, Andrea leaned back for a photo. The rocks shattered. Sara's grip slipped. His phone filmed the fatal drop. Their story joins over 400 selfie-linked fatalities since 2008. Why gamble with death for likes? Blame dopamine. Viral validation trumps primal instinct. As platforms profit, tragedies multiply. How much would you risk for that perfect shot? Altar Knotto, a jagged cliff on Italy's Ligurian coast, is a 650-foot limestone promontory near Misino. Known for its breathtaking views, it's also a deadly selfie hotspot. The unstable limestone, eroded by wind and waves, crumbles unpredictably. Despite rusted warning signs, tourists often ignore the risks for the perfect shot. It's a tragedy waiting to happen, said a local guide. The site has claimed multiple lives, including Andrea and Sara's in September 2022. Weeks earlier, another man fell while posing for a photo, his phone tumbling into the abyss before he did. They see influencers post here and think it's safe, said a rescue worker. But the ground can vanish in seconds. Critics argue that platforms should flag such high-risk locations, but for now, Altar Knotto remains unmonitored. Its beauty continues to lure adventurers, but its dangers are a silent predator waiting for the next misstep. Would you risk it all for the perfect photo, or is some beauty better left unframed? Andrea Mazzetto, 28, and Sara Braganti, 26, were a young Italian couple who shared a passion for adventure and photography. While not professional influencers, they often posted their travels on social media, capturing moments of joy and daring. Friends described them as thrill-seekers who loved exploring Italy's most breathtaking and dangerous landscapes. Their photos, often taken on the edge of cliffs or atop precarious peaks, reflected their fearless spirit. They were always chasing the next adrenaline rush, a friend recalled. For them, life was about living in the moment and capturing it, no matter the risk. Their trip to Altar Knotto in September 2022 was meant to be another adventure. The couple had seen photos of the stunning cliffside online and were determined to experience it for themselves. Despite warnings from locals about the unstable terrain, Andrea and Sara were undeterred. They thought they were invincible, said another friend. They believed nothing bad could happen to them. However, underneath their carefree exterior was a subliminal compulsion to capture their lives in increasingly audacious ways. Social media, with its endless scroll of envy-inducing posts, had a way of pushing people to go further, to take bigger risks. For Andrea and Sara, the allure of a perfect click, one that would capture the beauty and thrill of their relationship, was irresistible. As they stood on the edge of Altar Knotto that fateful day, Andrea leaned back for one last shot. Sara held his hand, trusting the ground beneath them. But the rocks, weakened by erosion, gave way. In an instant, their adventure turned into a nightmare. Andrea's final photo was never posted. Instead, it became a haunting reminder: the edge between life and death is often just one step away. Would you take that step for a memory? It was September 14, 2022, and the sun was setting over Altar Knotto, casting a golden glow on the jagged cliffs. Andrea and Sara, hand in hand, stood at the edge of the 650-foot drop, their laughter echoing against the rocks. Andrea, ever the daredevil, decided to lean back for one final shot, a photo that would capture the thrill of their love and the beauty of the moment. Sara, holding his hand, steadied him as he tilted backward, her phone ready to snap the perfect picture. But the cliffs of Altar Knotto are as treacherous as they are beautiful. The limestone, weakened by years of erosion, gave way without warning. In an instant, Andrea's footing disappeared. Sara's grip tightened, her scream piercing the air as she fought to pull him back. But the weight was too much. Andrea slipped from her grasp, his body tumbling down the sheer cliff face. As he fell, Andrea's phone, still recording, captured every horrifying second. The screen showed the sky spinning, the rocks rushing past, The phone landed on a ledge, miraculously intact. Sara collapsed to her knees, her cries echoing across the empty landscape. She fumbled for her own phone, desperately calling for help. But it was too late. Rescuers arrived hours later, recovering Andrea's body from the base of the cliff. His phone, still recording, held the final moments of his life, a chilling reminder of the risks they had taken. The video, later shared in news reports, showed more than just a fall. It showed the moment joy turned to terror, the split second when a daring adventure became a tragic end. They were just trying to capture a memory, a friend said tearfully. But that memory cost everything. For Sara, the aftermath was a nightmare. Haunted by the sound of crumbling rocks and Andrea's final scream, she retreated from the public eye. Their story, once a celebration of love and adventure, became a cautionary tale. The image they hoped to capture that day was never shared. Instead, it became a silent witness to the fragility of life, a reminder that the line between bravery and recklessness is razor thin. For Sara, the fall was only the beginning of a storm she never saw coming. For Sara, the days after Andrea's fall were a living nightmare. Rescuers recovered his body, but she was left with scars no one could see. She deleted their social media, unable to escape the comments, some sympathetic, others cruel, calling it karma. But as she shared in an interview later on, no one knows the feeling of seeing the one you love disappear in front of your eyes. Andrea's mother remembered him as a boy who lived for the moment, never thinking it would end like this. The video of Andrea's fall spread quickly. It was a heartbreaking glimpse into how quickly life can change. The experts would say social media is a platform that encourages risks but doesn't show the consequences. It would soon come to haunt Sara. She sought therapy to cope with the trauma, and she continued asking herself, what if I'd held on tighter? Haunted by the memory of Andrea, Sara later moved away, seeking anonymity and healing. But Andrea's memory stayed with her, a bittersweet reminder of love, loss, and the cost of living on the edge. Andrea and Sara's story didn't just end at Altar Knotto. But Sara didn't want to forget the memory of Andrea and what they once had, so she became an advocate for online safety. And it later became a global conversation about the dangers of social media obsession. Why do we risk so much for likes? And how can we break the cycle before it's too late? Andrea and Sara's tragedy is a stark reminder of social media's invisible pressures. Platforms often glorify risk-taking. From cliffside selfies to wildlife encounters, the pursuit of viral fame has claimed hundreds of lives. It's not just the photo itself, but the dopamine rush with every like. Studies show that millennials and Gen Z are most vulnerable, often partaking in dangerous selfies. Andrea and Sara's story is a microcosm of this trend, a couple who chased the perfect shot only to pay the ultimate price. In their wake, advocacy groups have called for stricter regulations, including geotagging warnings. We need to stop rewarding recklessness, our lives are at stake, says one activist. You, as a viewer, has a lot of influence. Andrea and Sara's story is a call to action. Pause before posting, prioritize safety over likes, and remember that no photo is worth a life. Sara, now an advocate for online safety, sums it up perfectly. The edge may look beautiful, but it's a dangerous place to stand. Andrea and Sara's story is a tragedy, but it's also a lesson. Let's honor their memory by choosing wisely, online and off. If this video moved you, like, share, and subscribe to spread awareness and help prevent future tragedies. Let's choose safety over fleeting online validation.